What is up, YouTube? Today we are doing a product review on the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller. Here on this channel we do reviews of the top tech that's out on the market, so if that interests you in any way, I would really appreciate if you could drop a like and a subscribe so that when I post you don't miss any videos. Alright, let's get into the review. This is probably the best controller I've ever played with before I decided to switch over from keyboard and mouse, and it's largely due to the fact of these paddles in the back. Especially for competitive games such as Call of Duty, CSGO, or Fortnite, you can attach these little paddles to the back and map out any button on the controller that you want it to be. Along with the paddles that you can add to the back of the controller, you can also swap out the directional pad for one that's more friendly towards diagonal presses. It also comes with a couple of extra thumbsticks, one really short and one long. I use the long one, so if you like using control freaks, this pretty much eliminates the need for that already built in. And then I use a flat one with a slightly wider surface than the standard one. I'm not sure if you could really tell. And then of course it comes with a regular sized standard thumbsticks from Microsoft as well. Along with being able to switch out the thumbsticks, it also comes with this handy tensioner tool, so you can actually adjust the resistance of each of the directional sticks by sticking this thing in there and twisting it a bit. It has 3 different levels, starting at the top, just the regular standard controller resistance, and the more that you twist it, the more resistance that's applied to that directional stick specifically. Along with all the customization up front that you can do, you can also adjust these trigger locks in the back. The Xbox Elite Series 2 offers 3 different settings that changes how far the trigger actually travels when you press it. Along with an incredibly useful controller, Microsoft also includes this handy carrying case or traveling case in case you want to take it over a friend's house and play there. And inside the case there's this nice block that offers charging as well, so you can just put the block in there, use the USB-C cable that also comes with the controller, and it has a pass-through in the back of the case, so you can just set that on your desk, and when you're done you can set your controller down, it'll start charging, and you don't even have to think about anything. And although you could charge it with this nice little block that it comes with, there's also another USB-C port to charge your controller as well, or to play with a wire connection if you're into that. Another really cool feature that Microsoft implemented into this controller was the addition of multiple profiles. So if you have to share this controller with other people, you can see in the middle indicator which profile you are currently on, being 1, 2, 3, and if none are lit up, then that's just a default standard controller. So even if you do have the paddles attached to the back, if there's nothing lit up that you've actually gone through the software and set up to be remapped, those paddles are going to be completely useless. They won't do anything. Speaking of the software, we're going to take a look at that next and see how user friendly it is to set up the different buttons on the paddles and some of the other settings that it offers as well. Taking a look at the software, once you open up the Microsoft Xbox Accessories app, you will be greeted at this screen to configure your Xbox controller. So I already have one profile set up, but we're going to start a fresh one so you guys can see exactly how that goes. We're just going to keep this on the same name, profile 1, because I'm going to delete it. So once you get into here, you can see it looks like it's a lot, but it really isn't once you really break down exactly what's going on. So you could click on a button and you can go into primary and change it to any button you want. You can also change it to different actions, such as the ones you see on screen. See your party, send a message, take a screenshot. And one thing that's really cool about this remote is you can also set one of your buttons or one of your paddles, if you're not using all 4 of them, to be a shift button. And once you use that paddle as a shift button, then anytime you're holding down that paddle specifically, you can have a completely different set of actions for each and every one of these buttons. So it's almost like having 2 controllers at your hand. Beyond just the button mapping, you can also change your sensitivity as well as the curve of it. I don't mess with any of these settings personally, but you see you can get really in depth with what you're changing. The same with the triggers. You can actually see exactly when it's starting to actuate. I have the hair triggers on, so if I'm just barely tapping, it's like jumping. But if I flick them off really quick, you can see it a little easier. And it's really just a good way to kind of diagnose your controller and make sure everything is working right, that it's actuating as soon as you start to pull it in, and it goes all the way to the end and you're not missing anything. And you can do the same thing with your vibrations. You can test them, you can change how aggressive they are, whether it be in the actual controller or in the triggers. And you can also change the brightness of the Xbox logo on the remote, although I don't find it to be too bright, and I keep it at the brightest setting. So overall, after having used the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller for a little over a year, it's for sure a great controller. I just have a couple of complaints about it. First off, if you use it every day, the excessive wear eventually gets to it, and you're gonna experience a little bit of stick drift. In the specifically in the right stick is where I was getting it the most at. Now, luckily, the Xbox Accessories app makes it easy to adjust your dead zone, and I know that most games also have that feature built in to adjust your dead zone so that you're not having to experience as much stick drift. But just know that it is a possibility that this thing will get some stick drift eventually. One other thing that I found through my continuous use is with the back bumpers. Lately, if I press the bumper just one time in game, it actually does it twice. And I can see this most clearly when I'm in the menus and I'm trying to cycle through the menus, and I'll press it and it'll go 2 over instead of just 1 over like I was trying to do. So there's something funky going on with the bumper buttons as well that I'm not really sure what to think about it yet.
And also, the hand grips on this controller are not great at all for what they try to do. They don't have any type of sticky feeling, and once you get any moisture on your hands from sweat, then it just makes the controller become slippery. Other than those things, this controller is for sure one of the best controllers on the market that you can grab today, and I highly recommend picking one up. Well, that's our review. If you enjoyed any of the content today, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe and drop a like below so that I know that we're on the right track and I can continue to bring you more tech videos in the future. Well, until next time.